Well, the Research Data Alliance was actually very honoured to sponsor the award for the most outstanding digital preservation initiative in commerce, industry and the third sector. And why this particular award? Well, the Research Data Alliance itself is a global and community-driven non-profit initiative that spans all areas of research and science and all stakeholders. And the Commerce, Industry and Third Sector Award, which focuses on a project, an initiative, a business or a person that has provided the best examples of steps that have been taken to safeguard and exploit its own digital legacy, ensuring that it remains accessible in the long term, is really very close to the vision and mission of the Research Data Alliance.
It really was a very strong field, and it was great to see such a diverse range of finalists. They're all using digital preservation in very different environments and different contexts.
Tanse, Raymond Frogner, Natigason, Notari Oscar, Egua, Nigari, Doris, Netatoscan, National Center for Truth and Reconciliation. Hello, my name is Raymond Frogner. I'm the head of archives for the National Center for Truth and Reconciliation. There are three important challenges to this NCTR project. First was the IT challenge, to preserve and normalize the over 7,000 survivor statements that the TRC collected over 7 years to document the legacy of the residential school system in Canada, and also to sort and normalize the over 4 million documents the TRC collected for the history of the residential school system in Canada. Second was the research itself. The TRC had to visit 150 different repositories, both government and church, to collect these records. And thirdly, philosophical. The center is trying to create a conceptual space to allow for Indigenous spirituality, worldviews, and research methods to be applied to these records so that Indigenous identities and priorities for self-determination can be prioritized in this center.
Bonjour, Anin. Joshkobineshi Quendish Nikas Makundane Magan. Kawikwe Dongang Donji. I am honored and really blessed to be one of the survivors, to speak on behalf of National Center of Truth and Reconciliation that is being nominated for an award. The award is really critical, really important, and it is an award that is going to recognize our stories that have been shared, the trauma, the pain, and the sorrow that we continue to deal with as the original people of this land. The digital process to be able to capture the stories are an excellent way to survive these stories that will give the opportunity for the intergenerational people of our nations to be able to go back and never forget the history of us as a people through the residential school system. Really exciting that my great-grandchildren can go and look up our people when they're doing their studies, or any researcher for that matter.
São João University Hospital Centre is the largest hospital in the north of Portugal. Open since 1959, it is a reference hospital for more than 3 million people and provides 1,100 inpatient beds, serving almost 4,000 patients daily, in outpatient encounters and emergency admissions. To provide healthcare, patient history is of utmost importance, and in the more than 60 years of operation, the hospital archive has accumulated over 15 kilometers of paper records. Although the production of electronic patient records is high, the hospital receives paper documentation brought in by patients, ambulances, and transferred by other healthcare institutions. This documentation must be available 24/7, sometimes in a span of minutes, and must be retained permanently, according to national legislation. Patients' history can be important to diagnose patient descendants, or for health studies that can benefit the community. In 2016, the hospital and the Portuguese National Archives set out on a project to identify and adopt best practices for digital preservation in the context of healthcare. In 2020, a case study aimed for the legal replacement of paper-based records by digital surrogates was undertaken, and the result was the implementation of the Health Records Repository. We started with the pediatric patients, since these will be our future patients, but the solution is now being used for any documents requests from the clinical staff. Today, the Health Records Repository contains information about more than 120,000 patients and more than 2 million digitized pages, accompanied by 3.5 million preservation event records. Gradually, hospital staff is giving up on using the paper-based records, since the archive digitizes the records on demand. The whole process of organization, scanning, quality control and ingestion in the repository has improved the access to physical records in time, security and data protection, since physical records never leave the hospital's archive. Paper records received daily in emergency services are promptly digitized and available in the repository in less than 8 minutes. Currently, the repository is serving around 1,000 downloads per week, a number which is estimated to grow as administrative staff is being trained and the system is rolled out to be implemented in other departments. A preservation plan for the repository has been developed, together with a procedure to periodically review and monitor the repository effectiveness to respond to the preservation plan's strategic objectives. During the project, we have learned that thorough and automatic quality control is essential, and we've developed a digitization Q&A tool for that purpose. A lot of effort was put into dealing with the daily critical human situations. In urgent situations, proper archival submission can sometimes not be taken diligently and patient identification must sometimes be postponed. Unusual challenges for an archive and a digital preservation system which require innovative approaches.
Our archive have 50 years, so it's very important for us. And we like to see some projects like Almaiso is one of the most biggest fonts of photography in Europe from 18th century. Okay, and this is some things you can see. In this digitalization, we have more than 3,000 photographs in negative, and this is a digitalization with positive. Okay. The other important project for us is a new project, and is the big project for this nomination, and is the digital museum. This digital museum we try to sell to our consumers in this year, in the few months. So in this museum you can see some brewery items like this. Okay, we did 3D digitalization. Okay, we have bottles and other items, marketing. Okay, and we'll have full the archive. The archive have more than 1 million items. Okay, and we have digital. And we digitalize from the 50%.